Johnny on the Drive, John Wilbur, Milford, Massachusetts. You lost 45 pounds. I've been listening to your commercials that you just sent in. But you started at 260 on Plan Z.
On Plan Z,
but you were 280. So tell me how you lost the first 20 pounds, and then compare that to losing 45 more pounds on Plan Z.
Sure. So I lost the first 20 my old-fashioned way with a lot of exercise and killing myself and not eating very much. But in the past, I used more of a high carb, low fat diet because I like to exercise and I like to burn it off. So I assumed that as a former nutritionist, I had somewhat of a background of what they taught you in the past was good for you. And so that was like that, but it wasn't coming off very fast. And once I started the Plan Z diet, my body felt differently. And even thinking about that this morning, I feel like I haven't gone back to any carbs. Like my carbs intake is very, very little, and I spare what I can for beer, I think. And that's even very little because my body just doesn't want to react to it anymore. And the sugar intake, I was drinking a lot of sugar in my coffee and a lot of cookies and a lot of snacks, and I would even allow myself those cheats and those sugars on my original diet. And once I started on the Plan Z, I realized I was doing it all wrong.
So you had a background in nutrition, but what did you learn? Because we tell people that 60 or 70% of the value of Plan Z is just the re-education.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that re-education of the proper foods to eat, and especially the amounts of those foods, and the greens and just the blueberries. I think things like that, the superfoods, the foods high in antioxidants. I've had some, intestinal issues with diverticulitis in the past, and not, knock on wood, throughout this, not one type of flare up because of the diet, and I'm feeling better. And, they always told you a high fiber diet was very important, but yeah, you can get that fiber from fruits and vegetables, I think, just as much as anything they can prefab or pre-make anywhere. I don't miss any of that stuff at all. And I think what they teach you as far as eating carbohydrates and not disposing of them properly is completely wrong in the nutrition world.
I mean, the daily recommended requirement for carbohydrates is 300 grams plus.
Oof.
And I found that if I ate over 80, I would gain. I can keep it under 80 grams and I can live like that forever.
Sure.
But I put it back on when I get over 80 grams of carbs. It's just what your body can tolerate. And of course, there are better carbs than others if you're not eating white flour and eating fruit instead, or vegetables have carbs, but it's not quite the same.
Right.
All right. So I heard you in one commercial say it's not an easy diet. So talk about that. It's simple but not easy.
Sure.
But what is the thing that kept your mind in the game and let you pursue this through the whole 90 days?
The weight loss. It came off. And that was the difference. And I think the only difference is that I had been in that process already. So I didn't do the Z binge like everybody else did. And that's probably the only thing I missed out on in the process. But I really didn't, because I was already there. But once I started on the Plan Z, the weight started to really come off, and my body started to feel better. Even just noticing the energy I was gaining. So one of the reasons I said it wasn't easy is I'm a very active person. So for me not to exercise or to not walk the dogs that extra mile or two was really hard. But I found that it worked, and that not overexerting myself. And when I did, just like Zola says, you gained, or you didn't lose in that immediate day like you did. And that self-satisfaction of losing a pound and a half, watching, the ounces even closer than I had ever before. That satisfaction of every day almost seeing some type of movement. And every once in a while there was a reverse movement because I, cut the lawn and went for a walk and did, these things that needed to still be done. But that was the difference. And I think that's what was the hardest. And maybe that I am a very, I love fruits and vegetables. And there was a lot that in the beginning that are high in carbohydrates, are high in sugar, like peaches aren't, and having those peaches, that's a weekly dessert now, to cut up a couple of peaches and put them in the oven or on the grill and roast them and enjoy those after dinner. And the time to put the food together, probably in the past as a traveling salesman, I wouldn't take that time. But now, instead of going to the fast food shop, I go to the grocery store, I get some deli meat, I get some fruit, and that's my lunch.
Yeah.
I think the hardest part was not being able to eat broccoli and cauliflower for the first 90 days. And just that not exercising. Everything else really was easy because I do like fruits and vegetables. And I have to thank my mom for that because luckily she brought me up enjoying those types of things. So that part of eating salads and those types of things was easy for me.
Yeah. Zola keeps trying to clear broccoli, but it slows for some reason. It's just so slow to get through your system that it slows down your weight loss.
Sure.
Of course, you can eat it on reboot, but
right.
It just doesn't work on the diet. So what did you think you were going to miss that you really didn't miss once you gave it up?
Cookies. Cookies and snacks. Those types of sweet snacks. I haven't missed them. Even ice cream. I wasn't a huge ice cream eater, but I like it once in a while. And once in a while now that I'm on Z Life or in the Z Reboot, I can have it, but I don't overindulge. It's not a whole pint. It's maybe a quarter of that pint instead. Now I've kind of learned to be more disciplined, and that's a big part of anything in any life is you have to have some self-discipline in order to succeed in anything. And I wanted to succeed because I wasn't feeling good about myself. And right now I feel fantastic about myself.
Well, I mean, you even mentioned in one of the commercials that you were kind of fearful of having a heart attack or just,
Yeah.
You were gasping when you tied your shoes. How has that changed? What's going on now, health-wise and clothing-wise and all those things?
I feel great. I need some extra time to go shopping because I was able to actually pull out the old skinny clothes and get back into those, which was great. But now we've been very busy at the radio station, so I haven't had time to go get some new clothes. But I'm heading out on vacation, so that will happen very soon. And yeah, that's all. Everything makes me feel great. Just getting up in the morning. I get up at my dog promptly wakes me up by 6 a.m. every morning, and I jump outside and I go for a 3 or 4 mile walk right away. And that to me is relaxing. I love to be able to do that with the dogs and take them out. I couldn't have done that consistently at 280 pounds, 260 pounds, 250 pounds. I've known in the past what gets me there, and I wasn't able to obviously control it. But one of the things I've found with the Plan Z diet was that book, I call it the Bible, was just amazing. And at first it's like I looked at it and it was a little overwhelming to read this whole book. I'm like, I have a lot of things in my life going on, but I did. And I took a little bit of time each night to go through it. And when I did, I learned more. And some of the things I already knew, but it refreshed my mind and refreshed my memory to the things that are really important and to follow and to look at those food lists and to see what you're putting into your body and how it affects your body. And you can definitely tell when you do now, if I do put something that doesn't belong in, and the changes in the feels and the way you wake up. I got a coffee the other day, mistakenly, they put sugar in it. And oh my gosh, I couldn't drink it. I had to throw it away.
Well, Zola and I moved on to Tennessee from Chicago 2 years ago, and we're in Chattanooga. And you have to ask for unsweet tea or you'll get sweet tea. And
Sure.
so it's just amazing. And of course, diabetes and all the other things that are around here. But, we had the first Coca-Cola bottling plant in the world in Chattanooga because they bring the syrup up from Atlanta.
Yep.
And we got Little Debbie's snacking cakes here and a Mars plant and the
Yes.
moon pie and the moon pie museum. So we're number 9 in obesity in the United States in Chattanooga. It's one of the reasons we're here. So you mentioned the diverticulitis. Any other health benefits? Knees are not sore or anything like that?
The blood pressure has been down. The knees, well, I've been a catcher since I was like 8 years old. I played ball till I was 40. I'm working on that one, but no, I'm functioning better and the rest of my body feels better. And if I hadn't lost as much weight as I have, my knees would feel even much worse because they did feel worse and they are feeling better, but they need a little bit of work.
So new clothes, that's one of the hidden costs of Plan Z, but it's kind of a fun thing as well.
It is.
So any favorite recipes from the website that you used or go-to for you?
For sure. Matter of fact, last night we just had the Greek meatballs, and I really, really enjoyed the onions as an alternate to pasta. And now that I've graduated to the Reboot and to the Z Life, even we've been using the zucchini and summer squash noodles and fresh noodles to put a little bit of sauce on, and the meatballs from last night. Those Greek meatballs are fantastic with a little mint in them. My girlfriend absolutely loves my mom's meatloaf. It's so many of them. The chicken scallopini that was just there. I think it was a new addition. I think we've made that 3 times since it's been out, and so many of them. The Z Reboot and the Z recipes were so helpful to be able to use the guides in the shopping in the shopping center at the market, and to be able to look down and say, well, no, I can't have that, right? And at first it was okay, you can't have that, and I was very strict to it. I still haven't had a piece of white bread or wheat bread in about 100 days now, and I don't miss that. That's one thing I really don't miss. Someone brought me a sausage in the booth the other night. I call baseball games. I'm around these things all the time. I love a hot dog and a hot dog bun, or a sausage and a sausage bun. And this roll was soft and beautiful and warm. And I ate the sausage and peppers and onions, and I gave the roll to the birds because that's just where it belongs, to the birds.
Yeah, it's a different way to think about food, and I know sometimes I'll have half a bun with a burger.
Sure.
But I just take the top off. Sometimes I'll eat half of the bottom. But it makes a huge difference. Well, I mean, you've got a great story. How long did it take you to lose the 20 pounds before you lost the 45 pounds?
I think it took me about a month and a half to lose, 2 months to lose 20. And a lot of that was, the first couple of weeks, just really binging and not eating properly. But the 45, geez, I got to my goal weight within the first 90 days, I think. So that in itself was really, I think I was maybe 2 pounds away from my goal weight at the end of Z reduction. And that in itself just proved to me that it worked. And that was one of the things that I talk about on the radio all the time. I did a fantastic one yesterday. I wish you guys had heard it, but somehow when I ended the recording in the show yesterday, my recording stuff wasn't working. And I said, no, I said, it was such a good testimonial. But it's so real. And I'm a fun guy, and I'm not afraid to pick at myself. And I used to call myself chubby all the time. And to be able to now say on the radio, I'm not chubby anymore. And there's a reason for it. And honestly, Chris, everywhere I go, they say, Johnny, what are you doing? I say it's the Plan Z diet. Before I say anything else, I say it's Plan Z. It's just, and then, well, what's Plan Z? And I said, listen, go to the website, watch the video. That's how I learned about it. We found out, we heard the commercials on the radio. You're hearing the commercials, you hear me. Go find out for yourself. Give it a try. And you're going to see that you're succeeding. And if you're successful, because it works. Now, no mention of any names. And the 5 of us in the station who really, you know, were on this, one didn't really give it their all, and you can tell, you know, and that's the difference. And Ann Sue and I call her Ann Sue, and Zoe likes to pick on me because of that, because the way down there, obviously in Tennessee, it sounds like I'm saying Aunt Sue, but it's just, she's always Ann, she's always with me, so it's Ann Sue, Johnny and Sue, and she's done fantastic. She's lost 30 pounds. And she feels, and I looked at her yesterday, I said, you look fantastic. I hadn't seen her in about 2 weeks. I said, you look fantastic. She said, I feel fantastic. And we get to share that back and forth. Tom as well has done incredible, looks great, feels great. And his wife, Megan, has been hugely successful throughout that. And I think that that's one of the great things about Plan Z too. And I wanted to tell you this, is my girlfriend is a big WW girl, and she likes to watch those points. But she sees the difference, and she knows that my way is better. Your way is better, because she's now graduated. I see her counting less and eating less of that stuff that she needed to count, because I know that the stuff I need, I don't need to count. I know it's good for me already.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, you can eat it. You can have a 16-ounce steak and you won't put on an ounce.
Right. And that's fantastic, because I love steak.
All right. So I think you've done a great job of describing that when you know, we said when you get on the scale every morning and you've got a result, it keeps the motivation going.
Sure.
And it makes you just want to stick to the program and do it. You lost a little bit of weight in Z, not reduction, but reboot and Z reboot.
Yeah.
You kept losing, and really you're at your goal of where are you? 218,
215 right now.
215
this morning. Yep.
And how tall are you?
5'11", 5'10 3/4.
Okay. All right. Well, it's a great success story.
Yeah.
One last thing. I mean, you're a success, and you haven't kept it off for a year yet, but you'll do fine because your mind's right. What advice would you have to a new dieter? Maybe they've even bought the program, but they haven't started yet.
Don't cheat. Don't cheat. Follow the book. Do what it says, and you will be successful. Drink the water as much as you can. And honestly, I attribute my second vaccination shot and not having gotten any kind of side effects from that, from having consumed about 140 ounces of water that day, and every day leading up to that. And that is something I'm trying to stick to, is the water. Don't drink the soda. Don't ever drink the soda again. I was lucky. I stopped drinking soda about 6 to 8 months ago, and I had only been drinking it again for about a year. I stopped for many long times, and but soda's bad for you. Watch the videos, do the research, put the time in, and you'll be successful. Do not cheat, though. It's not, well, I just had one beer. Well, I just had one this. No, you can't right now, because that's what got you to that point. And that's where I know. And like you said, Chris, I was 280 pounds originally, and that's the biggest I've ever been. And I was struggling with the fact that I'm only 47 years old and I like to live. I have plans. I have things I want to do. And I lost a grandfather at 43, and I lost an uncle at 43, all due to heart disease and heart attacks. And it's in my family, and I'm not going to let it take me. And I'm physically fit. I have, knock on wood, I think a pretty good ticker. My blood pressure was at a point where I went to the dentist and they checked it, and I said, that can't be right. It has to be because I'm nervous. No, it was because I was fat. And it's not that way anymore, you know. I feel it better. I never tested for any type of diabetes, but I used to often get I'd be out working a lot and I'd say, oh, I think I just need a little sugar to keep me. I didn't need the sugar. It was my body telling me that I needed water and a little bit of just maybe a rest for a second, and not to put any sugar in my body, because now it almost feels like poison.
Well, in the quantities that we eat it as Americans, it is poison.
It sure is.
I think you can get away with a little bit here and there, but a tablespoon, not a pound. A teaspoon, not a pound. So
Right.
it's out of your coffee and it's out of your life. That's
It is.
half
And
the battle.
I was lucky. I didn't go to the alternates. I didn't change to the alternatives. Now in my coffee, I still have a little bit of a what is an artificial sweetener in the flavoring, but that's it. And that does me just fine. And I'm all right with that.
Good for you. Well, we'll leave it right there. Congratulations on your success, and
Thank you.
Thank you very much for all you do for us in Milford and spreading the word.
Thank you. And thank you for everything you've done for me and for my friends and our crew. And it's been a pleasure. I can't wait to continue on. Yeah, a year to 2 years, 3 years from now, you're going to see the same Johnny Wilbur sitting in front of you, this size at least, maybe a little bit tighter. But that, and even the exercise, I don't want to have to push it now. I don't push it now, and the weight stays off, and that's what's great about it. Toning up a little bit, and I'm not Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I don't want to be. I'm 47 and I got things to do. I thank you both, though, very, very much.
You're welcome, and thank you.
All right. Thanks for talking to me.
All right.
Bye.